former player's perspective. The Septa Baseball Insiders Show is brought to you by Dion Square, Septa, Pat Dion Beverage, Penn Community Bank, and BCWSA. Let's go live and get set for the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Now, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazer and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
All right, welcome to the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. We are live from Pass and Stowe at Citizens Bank Park. I'm John Brazer, joined by my co-host Tommy Greene. Tata, how you doing, buddy?
How you doing, pal? I like your shoes today.
I got my UVA specialty shoes. My Father's Day gift from my wife.
That's awesome. Along with the belt, you got to have the belt somewhere.
I got the Virginia National Champion lacrosse belt. I'm all UVA'd out today. Tommy, I love when we come on Sundays, coming off a good week, and especially a great night of Phillies baseball last night. Which last night might have been arguably the most complete game the Phillies have done.
Pitching
was awesome. The hitting was timely and power, and everyone contributed up and down the lineup.
Yes.
The bullpen obviously finished it, so it's good to see.
You can't say that any better, Brazer. I mean, I was talking with somebody this morning about getting hot at the right time, trending in the right direction towards the end of the year right here, and they're putting together a lot of good things right now, playing good baseball. They're picking each other up, and even when, say to speak, they lose a game.
Yep.
They're fighting, and they're fighting. It's a never give up type thing, attitude, and they're always coming back. And to win the week is a huge thing.
Yeah,
it's a huge thing.
You win series, and then you win series. You win the week.
So it's a huge thing, trending in the right direction, and get everybody clicking a little bit and picking up each other.
And what's good too is that I was reading today in the clips that our 7, 8, 9 hitters have the second best OPS in Major League Baseball. So that means they're getting it done. The Braves are number one.
Yeah.
But the fact that, Marsh, Stott, and Bohm for the most part, or whoever we're putting in there
the daycare.
On the bench, the
Rojas,
the daycare has been producing. Like I'm telling you, we're watching Stott and Bohm, and Marsh.
And the maturation process,
Yeah, maturing into really good players at a young age right now, which bodes well because you need to balance out the young guys with the the big ticket items, when you got the Schwarbers and it's funny because they're the daycare, the 7, 8, 9 guys are basically they're consistent all year, and then you can combine that with what the star power Turner totally turning it around.
Yeah.
Schwarber on a roll.
Yeah.
Harper's
on. Hey, leave him alone. Leave him alone. Hey, he's right where we want him right now.
Last night, Castellanos has been very good all year. Was an all-star, obviously. So. Real Muto is going to get there.
Yeah, he's the guy we need to get hot
and
here
at
the end.
He will.
Yeah, I mean, get hot and click in the right direction is what we want him.
Yep, and it's just been good to see. And then you look at the starting pitching. Look, we kind of fall into this pattern where last night was the first time in 6 games, that we did not give up a run in the first inning.
Yeah.
So it seems like we've been getting in this pattern where they give up. They get in a little trouble in the beginning, no matter who the pitcher is, and then they get out of the trouble, and then the Phils come back. I don't know.
We're scoring runs.
We're
it's a
totally
huge
scoring
thing.
runs. So you're not out of it when you get down. That's what I love about this team. That even you looked at the other day, one of the games we lost, and we'll get into it, but we're down. Bryce Harper hits a 3-run mash. It hits the
missile,
pole, right?
Put a dent
and all of a sudden
pole.
you're like, wow, we're gonna come back on this.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, Kimbrel didn't have his best stuff.
Yeah.
And it's gonna happen. But just even then, you're not. We're down 3 runs going to the 9th inning, and
we're never out of one.
No.
And that's a good feeling for a team to have and believe in.
Yep.
I mean, if they're believing in that, man, it's a huge thing there. Late in the ball game like that, you do have a chance when a couple runs down, even 3 runs down. I mean, they got a chance to do something.
Yep. And Tommy, it's time now for the Smart Stat of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. I've got a lot of stats and all from last night because there's a lot of stats to go through. So, again, thanks to Payroll Service Solutions. Since 2018, the Phillies are 6-0-3 in their 9 series against the Cardinals. In that span, the Phillies are 18-11 overall against the Cardinals and a .621 winning percentage against them, which ranks second amongst opponents they played at least 10 times or more. Pirates, the only one where we have a 700 winning percentage. We have not lost a series to St. Louis since 2017. We've already won this series, and it bodes well because we play them in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So, also, big stat. This really should be the lead stat. But with 3 home runs last night, the Phillies now have 48 in August. It's the most in a calendar month in franchise history. The previous mark was 46 home runs in September of 2019. So that shows you that we've got, we've got a dangerous lineup. If you're
there's no question about that.
The Braves are running away with the division, but if you're the Braves, we're going to see them hopefully in the second round.
Yeah.
NLCS, and I guarantee, like as scary as their lineup is, I guarantee they don't want to see Zach Wheeler at the top of the rotation, and they don't want to see the lineup that we're bringing out.
No, exactly. Yeah, especially when we're hot like that. And it's about, you've heard me say it time and time again. It's about being hot, getting hot at the right time at the end. Here at the end, when it counts, I mean, not that every game doesn't count during the year anyway, but it comes crunch time. If you're trending in the right direction and you're pitching well and playing defense well, there's not too many things that a team can. Opposing team can do, if you're pitching the ball well, and then on top of that, your hitters are doing the thing to score runs, not just hitting home runs, finding a way to score some runs like we have been, not just with the long ball, just the other ways to kind of keep us in ball games and give us a chance to win late.
I'm totally with you. I have some more stats though. For the 20th time in his career and 4th time this season, Zach Wheeler struck out 10 or more hitters in a game.
Yeah.
He set a career high with 24 swings and misses yesterday. I mean, he was dealing.
Yeah, he was locked in yesterday. Didn't throw many pitches at all for the strikeouts that he had.
And he likes the Cardinals, too. He's 4-2 with a 2.44 ERA against the Cardinals. Amongst active pitchers with 5 or more career starts against St. Louis, Wheeler's ERA is the second lowest, only to Sandy Alcantara. And then also, just the last one is Nick Castellanos, Brandon Marsh. Each hit a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 7th. Last time the Phillies hit 2 3-run home runs the same inning was in 2020. It was Didi and Andrew Knapp, the 9th inning at Washington.
How about those names? How about Napper, man? I miss him.
Yeah, and that was your Phillies Smart Stat of the Week. Once again, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Call them again at 1-866-PAY-EASY. Also, Tommy, did you know that Septa operates a fully electrified multimodal rail system and has one of the largest green bus fleets in the nation?
Yeah, I do now.
Yeah, well, I think you know every week when we do this. 2 reasons why Septa commuters have 1/3 of the carbon footprint of those who travel by car. Visit iSeptaPhilly.com to plan your trip today. That's iSeptaPhilly.com. And my wife, Jill, took the train and the subway down yesterday's game. And we're meeting for dinner tonight. She's taking the train down. So
that's something I've never done. I got to come with you one time just to say I've done it. I've never done it.
From us, we live out in Bluebell area, so you can actually take a train to Fern Rock and then take the subway all the way here from Fern Rock. So it's pretty easy. All right, so Tommy, again, last night was a fun game. I mentioned they get off to a 1-0 start in the 3rd inning.
Yeah.
And that's basically due to a rookie hitting his first home run ever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So you had Lucan Baker, clubbed his first home run in his major league career. A big boy. You see the
he
size
is.
of that guy?
He's a monster.
They got some young guys, and this is what happens when
they swing it, man.
Well, when you're out of the the race, right? You're playing a lot of young guys.
Yeah.
I mean, this Nolan Gorman guy who's in the lineup today, he's got like 24, 25 home runs.
Playing second base.
Right. Yeah. Playing second base. Not exactly the power position.
Yeah.
I guess it was when Chase Utley was playing.
When Chase and Sandberg.
And Sandberg, right. Well, they get down to a 1-0, or they get up to a 1-0 lead. But the Fighting Phils come back.
Right after that, too.
Right after that. Now, we did have some opportunities where I know Turner grounded a double play, which did score a run.
He hit it hard, though. I mean, he smoked it.
Castellanos hit it with a double play. So you're thinking, like, come on, we got these opportunities. But more would come, and then we were relentless.
We picked away what was good to see. It wasn't just a 1-inning type thing.
No.
It was 2, 1, 1, 1. They kept adding.
They kept doing it, and with power, too. And then we completely break it open in the 7th inning with 7 runs. And again, we mentioned the 2 3-run home runs.
Yeah, you love to see the crooked numbers. Every now and then a big inning like that when they put it together, man, and take advantage of men in scoring position and hit the big hit, man.
And again,
huge thing.
It seems that the young guys are setting the table, and then the superstars are finishing it off.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's I want to say it's about time. We've been we've been trending in that because the daycare has been on base.
They have.
They've been on base. The table has been set pretty good for most of the season. It's just about these guys getting hot at the right time, and they're doing it.
And speaking of setting the table, how about Schwarber? Schwarber's been getting on base with walks. I mean, that guy's been a walk machine.
He's been hit. Hey, he hit 300 last week, so leave him alone. He's right where we want him.
I know. We'll get into the lineup today, but we are facing a left-hander who's had one start. His numbers are crooked. He's got a 14-something ERA.
Yeah, leave him alone. I don't talk about him too much.
Yep. But he came over in the trade when they sent Flaherty over to the Orioles. He came over from the Orioles system, so I think he's making his second start.
Yeah.
He's normally a relief pitcher, so we'll see what we got. Again, we'll go later through the lineup. Also today, Tom, we've got some guests today. We're going to hopefully have on Matt DeGeorge, who covers the Phillies from the Delaware County Daily Times. Matt can also talk to us about the Media Little League, right? Because he was down there covering that. Media made a good run. The finals today, the championship, is today. It's Curacao. Curacao upset Taipei yesterday.
How about that?
Yeah, because Taipei was on a roll.
Loaded. Yeah.
But Curacao won, and they're playing against a team from California. So that is today at 3 o'clock. So that's always fun to see the Little Leaguers. So we'll get Matt's take on that. Also, I'm hoping to have Larry Kane. It seems like we've had a lot of media superstars, right? Legends.
Okay.
Remember on this show we've had Ray Dininger, right? Yep. We've had Angela Cataldi.
Angela, man.
Right? We get a lot of these legends. Well, Larry Kane, it's interesting. Larry Kane was on ABC's. Oh, right, of course. We had Jim Gardner as well. But Larry Kane was on ABC, CBS, and NBC, KYW Radio.
Yeah.
But what I can't wait to ask him about, he was when the Beatles came over in 64 and 65, the Beatles only allowed one reporter to be embedded with the Beatles. Larry was young, working in Miami, and somehow, I want to ask how he got involved, he was the one reporter. So he was the journalist that was embedded with the Beatles on their USA tour.
He won the coin flip, huh?
I don't know. We're going to have to find out. And since then, he's written a bunch of books. He's been a consultant on the Ron Howard movie about the Beatles. So he is the preeminent expert on John Lennon and really the Beatles themselves. So that'll be fascinating as well. Because last week, we had on Vinny Mad Dog Lopez, the drummer for.
What a cool dude, man!
What a great guy! So we had Vinny on, and now this week we're having another rock and roll legend. But also, we're going to wait till we go to break. We're going to go to break right now. But coming back, I see my man Jason Firestone.
Yes, he is.
Who's brought some food. I'm trying to get a glimpse of what the food is today. Oh boy, it looks a little chicken. Looks some chicken. All right, awesome. Chris Ermer is salivating right now. All right.
Sweating.
Coming up on the show, we're going to have Jason Firestone explain what the very delicious food in front of us is, or maybe it's fish. We'll let Jason Firestone figure this out. And then also we're going to have Matt DeGeorge on for the Delaware County Daily Times, talk about the fight in Phillies. You listen to the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. We're live from Pass and Stowe at Citizens Bank Park.
This is Tommy Greene from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
I Septa Phillie.
I Septa Phillie. I Septa Phillie.
I ride the Broad Street line. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
Because it's better for the environment.
I ride Septa all the time.
Monday through Friday, and whenever game day is.
I'm out the door and at my stop by 7:30.
I catch up on work when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, Septa is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
From Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley and everywhere in between. For 150 years, Penn Community Bank has been a part of your neighborhood. Helping businesses start, supporting families as they grow, and staying connected to the people and places that make this region special. It's who we are and where we're from. Penn Community Bank. Here we are, and here we grow.
I Septa Philly.
I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly.
I ride the Broad Street line. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
Because it's better for the environment.
I ride Septa all the time.
Monday through Friday, and whenever game day is.
I'm out the door and at my stop by 7:30.
I catch up on work when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights. Or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, Septa is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
We now return to the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazer and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
All right, we are back to the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. We are live from Paso Stowe at Citizens Bank Park. I'm John Brazer, joined by my co-host Tommy Greene, and as always, every week when we're here at Citizens Bank Park at Paso Stowe, we have Jason Firestone, our favorite guest, because he comes bringing gifts.
He's the bearer of good things.
Jason, by the way, Chris Irmer had you move your seat only because they can see you're not built for radio. You're built for TV.
I don't know about that.
But if you are watching, you can go on WBCBsports.com or search WBCB Sports on YouTube, and you'll see the lovely face of Jason Firestone. Jason, and you can see the food items. So, Jason, tell us what we got in front of us.
So this is probably one of my favorites go-tos when I'm getting lunch or dinner here. It's Federal Donuts. So everything is hand-battered, hand-fried here at the park. New item for this year, chicken tenders with an everything rooster dipping sauce. We have the OG classic fried chicken sandwich, and then we have your classic Federal Donuts that we do fresh in the stand every day.
Wow.
And
I can smell the sugar from here.
Yeah.
Matt DeGeorge from the Delaware County Times is going to be following you. And I don't think I told him that there's food involved, so I think he's very happy when they see this.
He couldn't talk when you were telling him a while ago.
Right. Well, in Federal Donuts, I mean, the concept of chicken and donuts, right? And it's perfect. And they've got a lot of places. They're in the ballpark, obviously.
Yep.
And they're also in down the city as well. So and it's someone very Michael Solomanoff is behind that from Zahab.
Yep.
So a great can't beat the donut, can't beat the chicken. Just don't tell my cardiologist I'm having this.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
They do not like that.
Yeah. It's a great combo.
All right. Well, Jason, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Really nice of you to do that. I can't wait till, I guess, in a couple weeks. We got a couple more shows in September.
He's helping our cardiologist build his shore house, Brace.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. That is great. We got Larry Kane here who will be coming up pretty soon. The legend Larry Kane. All right, Matt. So we got Matt DeGeorge. Matt, you cover from the Delaware County Daily Times, and you obviously been covering for a while. Tommy and I were talking in the first segment how the daycare has been consistent all year, and we're waiting. For the most part, Bryce was hurt, and then Trey Turner obviously got off to a slow start. But it's the daycare that's been kind of the consistent. And then like last night, when the guys that have the stats in the back of their baseball cards, when they come through, and they've been coming through for a while, man, this offense is clicking.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Absolutely. It was something that was broached the other day with Rob Thompson, just about how much the bottom of the order has kind of been fueling things. And I think when they did it at the beginning of the season, it was kind of keeping them above water a little bit while some of the other guys came around. And now that you see Schwarber hitting home runs, I mean, it's the difference between Schwarber hitting all those solo home runs for a while, and now there's constantly guys on base. It's been an interesting, that kind of accelerates all of it. All the home runs now, you saw for how long they struggled to hit multi-run home runs at the beginning of the season. Now all of a sudden those are 2- and 3-run home runs, and that turns a lot of close games just after the All-Star break into the kind of blowouts we've seen in the last few weeks.
Well, the thing I like to see about it is that bottom of that lineup, they do things that manufacture runs, rather less than relying on the solo home or a home run all the time. To me, that's the huge thing. That's what's going to keep them there, giving them a chance to win later in games, so to speak. When it's a close game or a low-scoring game, because they're able to manufacture that run. Right. And take the extra base and get a runner in from third with less than 2 outs. That's the huge thing, rather less than strikeout. That's the thing I like to see.
And we're talking, too, that the 7, 8, 9 hitters for the Phillies have the second best OPS in all of baseball, only trailing the Braves. So, and that's normally, I mean, obviously the lineup changes all the time, but that's usually Bohm, Stott, and Marsh.
Yeah, and it's an interesting balance, too, because you have the guys at the top of the order that are more slug guys like Schwarber, guys like Castellanos. Yeah. And yet those guys at the bottom now, all of them are kind of threatening 300 this year. I don't know if Brandon Marsh is going to get enough at bats to qualify for a batting title. But
he's getting close to 290 now. Isn't he?
and I think Stott is probably at 296 after last night, and Bohm started the series at 282. So. It's interesting. I did a story this week about how 300 hitters are kind of vanishing. And as of Friday, there were only 9 or 10 guys in the league that are hitting 300. And there's a bunch of them here in this clubhouse. Bryce is over 300.
Yeah, that's what's so impressive with Bryce is that I like to see that process. He's went through a process this year. Obviously, the strengthening of that right side he's got to get. But him hitting and using the field, that's when he's at his best. When he's not falling off, you trying to yank everything. He's doing a little bit early. Now he bought in to stay in doing what he can do. Now over the course of the season, I think it's gotten stronger, and he's figured some things out what he need to do. But now it's starting to go for him. You know, when he hits, it's starting to get that backspin and do some things. And man, it's good to see him get hot at the right time, man.
Those singles that he hits over the shortstop at 112 miles an hour, that's when you know he's locked in.
Yeah, I mean, that's when the pitcher goes, uh-oh, how do I pitch it?
Right.
I think. Yeah, I mean, it's
because when he can take away that outside corner, then
Now, the other thing, too, is that you mentioned Bohm, Stott, and Marsh. They're also providing great defense. I mean, Bohm, if you remember last year, obviously Bohm had the incident where, he had the 3 errors in the game, and next thing you know, he had his mea culpa, or he actually acknowledged it, and I think the fans had great respect for that he just owned up to his own. But you look at Bohm now, the defense he's playing at first and third. Then you look at Stott's defense, who's been,
he's been steady Eddie.
Very steady. And then Marsh gives you that, the only one better than Marsh at defense is Rojas, right? But now when you at the late in the games, when you put Rojas in center field, put Marsh in left field, their defense has really been playing well.
Yeah. And even with Rojas, he's hitting close to 280, so you're not losing a ton of he's obviously not giving you the power numbers that either of those other guys are, but he's not a liability at the plate with that plus defense that he's providing.
Basically he's like, if he gets on, he's a double.
Yeah.
At least. He's giving you that if they got the green light, if the topper's giving him the green light, that's basically like being on second when he gets on. So,
he's been picked off a couple times. He's got to work on that.
It's a maturation process, too. You're facing guys they're here in the big leagues for a reason, so, they know he's going to run. So, he just can't anticipate. He could probably be flat-footed and still steal it, unless they're trying to get too great of a jump.
Yeah. All right, well, we're with Matt DeGeorge from the Delaware County Daily Times. Matt, let's talk about the rotation. The rotation, obviously, Zach Wheeler had arguably his best game last night. We've been giving up some early runs overall in general, but at the same time, these guys have been just recovering and waiting for the offense to come through later in the games. How are you seeing the rotation right now? And how about Christopher Sanchez?
Can't say enough about him.
Can't say enough about the guy.
No, the thing that stands out to me is I think it's 8 walks in the last 10 starts, something like that. Yeah. 9 and 11.
Very impressive.
Like that. His control's been excellent. It's going to be kind of hard to whittle this back down to a 5-man rotation, and some of that's going to be kind of how many innings these guys are throwing. Sanchez is way over the most number of innings he's ever thrown as a pro, and Lorenzen's way over last year especially. So I think that's going to have them be dialed back in September. I think part of what is great about what the Phillies are doing in August is that they're getting a little bit of a cushion. So, the September games are going to matter, but it's not necessarily going to be every game's a playoff game, hopefully. And especially if they capitalize on, the rest of this series and the struggling Angels, they could really open up a little bit of a gap there.
Keep the foot on the gas pedal.
Absolutely.
They cannot afford to, because you got some hot teams behind you. They're playing pretty good baseball. So they're, with the Cubs and the Diamondbacks, and I know that puts us right, but there's that one. They get hot at the right time, they can do some damage. So you cannot afford to take that foot off any.
And at least you have the opportunity against the Brewers and the Padres to kind of dent their momentum.
Yeah.
If the Cubs end up charging past the Brewers, then all of a sudden they're almost a wild card team too. So you have that head-to-head opportunity to kind of create that space for yourself.
Yeah.
Have you talked to Sanchez or Caleb or Rob about Sanchez's success, like how what's he doing? You mentioned the lack. He's not walking guys. His ERA's been unbelievable. He's so composed. What has caused that change, you think?
So I think some of it's calm. And Tommy, maybe you could speak to this of like when you've been up a couple times. I think this is maybe the 3rd season that he's been up for spells, he kind of knows that he's here, and he's able to be a little bit more calm and go through the routine and be there.
I think he believes that he can. The confidence is there because he feels like he can pitch here. He's got that. Success breeds confidence, and confidence breeds success. It kind of works hand in hand. He's had those chances. He's had his struggles, and then he's had where he's pitched very well. But the key to it is that he's attacked the zone. Mm-hmm. He's attacked the zone, and for the most part, he's given up a couple runs here and there, a couple home runs, but that's just because he left a couple in the middle of the plate that sometimes you get away with them, sometimes you don't. And those guys get paid to hit mistakes. That's what they do. So, but most of them, he's attacked the zone and for the most part stayed out of the middle of it, and changed speeds very well. And he's a pitcher, and that's what he does well. He's a lot like Ranger in an aspect. He's just a taller version, gives you a little bit different look, with a change up and a breaking ball down and into the right-handers. And key to it is getting it in there and not leaving it over the plate.
And I think part of that trust is he's using that changeup more.
Because that's the other side of the plate to the right-hander.
That's a borderline elite changeup. When he's using it 10, he's up 10 percentage points in how much he's using it this year. He's getting a whiff percentage in the high 30s on it. Guys are hitting about 150 off of it. It's an elite pitch that he just kind of has to believe in a little bit more and be willing to throw it 40% of the time, not 30% of the time.
Yeah, but the key to it is that fastball sets it up.
And keeps
He's
guys
got to command that fastball, command the fastball, show it. He throws hard enough to get that respect in, like you saw it with Goldschmidt. He might get him got him early, but after that, it was he had that changeup. He was like he couldn't see it. It was like he was whiff. Couldn't hit.
I guess just needs to be good enough on that fastball command-wise to keep them honest and to be able to set up that changeup that he can then go to.
Yeah.
And Matt, you're down in the clubhouse a lot. Talk about even last year, this year, I think fans can see that they honestly are having fun. They honestly have everyone's back. They love each other. You can just tell. The camaraderie they have. What are you seeing down in the clubhouse?
Mostly Jose Alvarado necklaces. Honestly,
right.
They're hanging in every locker stall. Everyone's wearing them.
Right.
A bunch of the guys I think Marsh was wearing them during the game the other day.
I think so was Harper, wasn't he?
I think so. I know Mundo's got his on. They're cool. They got some bling to them. They're a little shiny. They catch the sun really nice, and I think that's a little bit of a tangible symbol of the fact that they're literally together and bonded on something, and they all seem to really like those. They seem to like those necklaces. They seem to like being around each other.
Well, you were also up in Williamsport last weekend, right?
I was,
and you saw. Well, obviously, you're covering your media team for the Delco.
Yes, I was up there for the first game. I was up there for Wednesday. I didn't do the weekend. We had another of our reporters up there, but I was up there for the Wednesday opener. They lost to Texas in that game, which Texas made it all the way to the third place game. So. It's kind of a rough draw for them, and that was a pretty good team for them to play early. But it was an interesting team to kind of follow all summer. It's a team that won their first 14 games. Then they get up to Williamsport. They're the first team from Delaware County to have made it to Williamsport since the late 1960s. So it's a huge accomplishment for the area.
I think they're coming Monday. They're coming tomorrow.
Yes, they are.
They're being honored tomorrow.
Yes, I believe they're coming as the guests of Nick Castellanos. He's bringing them all out, and I'm sure there's going to be some swag bags and stuff like that for them.
But you also saw the camaraderie between the team, our team, and the media team.
Yeah,
right?
and I actually talked to Nick a little bit about it, and he had he actually enjoyed hanging out with the parents, and it's interesting for someone like Nick because his son Liam, who we've seen a lot of this year, is right around that age. I think Liam's 9 or 10, and obviously the little leaguers are mostly 11 and 12. So it's interesting to see that bond with some of the parents that Nick had, and I think a lot of the players, because they have kids, Bryce talked about it obviously on the broadcast and teared up about it, but how much his kids mean to him. I think there's that interesting connection between some of these guys who aren't old guys by any stretch of the imagination, but they are mature in the sense that they understand that parent dynamic, and I think they enjoyed it from that perspective.
Which further endears our players to the fans that see these guys that are real people.
Yeah, they see them as humans,
humans.
rather than guys to yell at in the batter's box.
Yes, exactly.
All right, Matt, well, thank you so much for coming on. Can't appreciate
Thank you, brother.
it. And again, we're paying you in food, so grab one of your food items. You can have the chicken or you can have the chicken sandwich.
Oh,
all right.
That's
tough choice right there.
Donut. Yeah.
All right, coming up on the show, we're going to have a journalistic legend. Larry Kane will be coming on the show.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk some baseball. We're also going to talk some Beatles, Tommy. You're listening to Septa Baseball Insiders Show presented by BCWSA. We're live from Paso Stowe at Citizens Bank Park.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Greene here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven.
I Septa Philly.
I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly.
I ride the Broad Street line. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
Because it's better for the environment.
I ride Septa all the time.
Monday through Friday, and whenever game day is. I'm out the door and at my stop by 7:30.
I catch up on work when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, Septa is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
From Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley and everywhere in between. For 150 years, Penn Community Bank has been a part of your neighborhood. Helping businesses start, supporting families as they grow, and staying connected to the people and places that make this region special. It's who we are and where we're from. Penn Community Bank. Here we are, and here we grow.
I Septa Philly.
I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly.
I ride the Broad Street line. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
Because it's better for the environment.
I ride Septa all the time.
Monday through Friday, and whenever game day is. I'm out the door and at my stop by 7:30.
I catch up on work when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, Septa is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
We now return to the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazer and former pitcher from the 93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
All right, we are back to Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA live from Passistow to Citizens Bank Park. I'm John Brazer, joined by Tommy Greene. Tommy, consider a career at Septa. I know you got your donut working right now.
No,
the
not my
donut. But Septa is hiring a variety of skilled trade positions, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, millwrights, and more. As a Septa employee, you'll earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org. All right.
That chicken's good, by the way.
Pretty good. All right.
That's good.
Well, I'm going to wait till after the show.
No, I ain't. I'm eating it right now.
Staring me right in the face. Again, thanks to Jason Firestone. It was great having Matt DeGeorge. We're going to have him back later this summer, or I should say, we're almost getting into the fall. But right now, we've got a broadcast legend. Now, we've had Jim Gardner. We've had Mark Zumoff. We've had Angelo Cataldi. We've had Ray Didinger. We had John DeBella.
Yeah.
And Philadelphia has a lot of radio legends, TV legends,
Yep.
journalist legends.
John Brazer.
John Brazer. And right now we've got Larry Kane. You know Larry Kane from years and years of TV. I think, Larry, you've been on every TV station there is, right?
Yes, he has.
Except Channel 29.
Right.
That's it. But the, I want to tell you about my first Phillies game. September 1966. Okay? Larry Shank gets me a seat on the third baseline at Connie Mack Stadium.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you something. I've never seen a game like that before. I could touch Dick Allen.
Right.
He's right there. And the screams and the crazy. So that was my first Phillies game. This is a lot bigger.
That's right. Well, and Dick Allen, I mean, you talk to people, that went to a lot of games at Connie Mack, and everyone says, oh, my God, watching Dick Allen hit a home run when he had the huge bat that he was using.
Ball made a different sound off that bat,
and they always say it went over the, it would go flying over the Valentine beer sign, right? So
my father-in-law looked on the side and he saw this kid with a bat, and it's Larry Boa. He said, is he in high school?
Right.
He said, he'll never make it in the big leagues. I said, you're looking at his age, you're not looking at his ability. And he became a star.
Well, Larry Boa, I don't know if you heard the story. Larry Boa, when he was a kid from California, he never made his high school baseball team.
Never?
He got cut from his baseball team every year. And so the Phillies sent out a scout to see somebody, including Larry, and Larry got kicked out of both games of a doubleheader.
Yes, he
And
did.
the scout came back
That's
and they
right.
said, "What did you think of that kid, Larry Bowe?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I just sent you out to California. What do you mean you don't know?" He said he got kicked out of both games of a doubleheader.
That's wild. I'll tell you another thing, too. It was really close-up baseball. And then I was on this location, right across the street, when 1971 or 70, when the society called the, what do they call themselves? It was supposed to have been built, Veteran Stadium, but it wasn't built. So they held a little funeral for the fact that the baseball stadium wasn't there.
Right.
It was kind of very, very interesting. And then, of course, we had Veteran Stadium, and now this incredible field. And I was one of the first people in this field about 20 years ago. It's incredible.
Well, and the fact that this is the oldest baseball stadium in the National League East.
It's hard to believe,
Can you believe
isn't
that?
it? It's hard to believe.
It really is. In that game, I think Jim Tomey was in.
Jim Tomey, yeah.
And what a hit. I think he hit a home run. It was just wild.
He had a bunch of them.
His team this year is amazing. And I'll tell you why. My favorite players, of course, Bryce Harper's number one. But I love Stott.
Stott, yeah.
And I love Bohm. And I love Marsh.
Yep.
And all these young players. And they are so active and they're so hungry. And you could just feel it watching on television.
And they have fun. That's the key part. They have fun playing. You can tell that they love playing the game of baseball.
And the fans here are amazing. I know the fans get a bad rap nationwide by people like the football guy from used to be on Fox, from St. Louis.
Right.
They don't know what they're talking about. They have no idea what this town is about. And the incredible devotion to the fans, by the fans. Now, yeah, they get a little tired once in a while. They'll boo Schwarber once in a while. But, then he hits a home run, he's fine.
Right.
The point is, he's got, 80 RBIs? I mean, the defense has improved. Just an incredible team to watch. And you know something? They're a comeback team.
They are a comeback. We were talking about that earlier.
That's something you don't see. 93 was an interesting team. I was sent down by Channel 3 to do spring training in 94. And I got to tell you a story. Lenny Dykstra agreed to an interview. So we're sitting out on the field. He's got no shirt on. So I said, where are we going to put the microphone? It's on my hair, my chest.
That's not shocking.
Now, wait a second. You got to hear this. And he says, who's going to see this? I said, well, just about everybody in the Philadelphia area, and your mom has asked for a copy. He got up, ran to the locker room, wherever it was, put on a shirt and continued the interview.
The mom did it.
The mom did it.
Once he heard his mom, he was a tough guy. Once he heard his mom was going to do it. And the cameraman didn't know what to do. He said, where are we going to put it, on his neck, on his hair? And it was funny.
Well, Larry, that was my first year in 1994, and I literally was telling.
Oh, he had to walk the gauntlet every day.
I was telling the story about, honestly, half an hour ago up in our offices, and our clubhouse guy was tough, our trainer was tough, everybody, the players were tough, our coaches were tough. We had Bo and Vuk and Fragosi, and there was, as a young person in the it was not a fun place to be.
Not just the coaching staff he had to deal with. Then he had to walk the gauntlet with us.
Then it Dykstra and Dalton and
But Philadelphians have and I should say people from the region, because only 29% of the area is the city. You know that.
Right.
And they have a tremendous devotion. I mean, I've been off the air on television for about 20 years. And still people, they don't recognize me because I'm a lot thinner and older. I'm going to be 81 in October.
Good for you.
But they say to me, I watched you as a child. Some people say they watched me as an infant. I said, it's impossible. and so, Philadelphia fans are very, very loyal. They're wonderful people. And this is the best place to live in America. There's no question about it.
I agree.
I have to agree
with
you.
Larry,
on that.
I've got one other aspect I think everyone knows is that, and I mentioned this right at the start of the show, is that in 1964 and 1965, you were a journalist in Miami, and you were the only journalist that was embedded with the Beatles on their U.S. tour. Talk about that.
Well, it was incredible. I don't want to go. I told my bosses, I wrote to Brian Epstein, and he said, why don't you come on the plane with us? $3,000 for 36 days for cars, hotel, $3,000. And the station said, what are we going to do with this? And they syndicated it nationwide. And when I went with them, I said, why would I want to go with a band that's going to be here in September and gone in November? What a waste of time. And my father said, my dad said, watch your back. They're a menace to society. And I said, what? I said, what's the menace? He said, the hair.
All right.
They're going to destroy America.
Right. And the bowl haircut.
And so I went on the trip, And I'll give you a very quick story about my first day. I get to the hotel. In my room is a young lady. This is a clean story here, okay? A young lady, and she's got very pretty. And she said, who are you? She says, well, I was a flight attendant on your plane, stewardess on your plane. I heard you babbling about seeing the Beatles. And Mr. Kane, I want you to know that I want to make this a happy day for you. You can get me to meet the Beatles tonight. I said, oh my God, what do I do? What a tremendous young man's conflict.
Right.
And the phone rang, and they said, come on down to the room. I went and interviewed George, interviewed Paul for the first time. But Lennon looked at me and said, who are you? You look like a nerd from the 1950s. and anybody a little older will realize I had a Robert Hall suit on, and it was just the only suit I ever on. And I said, well, it's better than looking like a slob like you. We had this interchange. I go down the hall. I
go back and forth with each other.
Now, here's what I got. I am now insulted the King Beatle.
Right.
All of a sudden, I feel two arms on my shoulder. He turns me around, gives me a hug, shakes my hand and said, I loved your questions about the war in Vietnam. I loved this and that. I can't wait to travel with you. So now I felt, okay, but what do I do about the person in my room? I looked down the hall, and Malcolm Evans, a book coming out on their number one roadie, 6'5", was walking there, and there's a young lady with her arm on his elbow. She was the person in the room. I don't know whatever happened to her, but I can pretty well guarantee she got to meet the Beatles that night.
Huh. Now you were about the same age, right?
21.
As the band?
21.
And so the band was about that age too, right?
Yeah, but they were much more mature than I was. I mean, they smoked things and they did things, and they kept trying to get me drunk. And in 1965, they gave me a substance, and I woke up in the morning thinking I was in another world, and I believe it was LSD, and I didn't like that.
Wow.
But they were really wonderful people. Really, John, just the salt of the earth. He said what in public, what he thought in private, which can be dangerous in politics or in sports.
Yeah.
Okay. And George was the one that they really ignored quite a bit. And the fact is, George had the greatest love song of all time. It was called Something.
Something, yeah.
And when they broke up, they never published the song. Finally, they had a final album called Abbey Road.
Yeah.
And they put all their leftover songs on it. Not only did they put that song on the album, but they put it on the B-side. Eventually, it became one of the greatest songs of all time. And so they were wonderful people. Ringo was just great. I still keep in touch with Ringo and Paul.
And he still tours.
Yeah, we were on together at the premiere of 8 Days a Week, which is now on Hulu if you want to watch it. And in London, he said, I can't use the language, but he said, what the so-and-so, Larry? This movie is all about the life of Larry Kane, also starring the Beatles. He said, there's too much of you in it, not enough of us. And Paul said, well, we are through drugs and alcohol. We don't remember a thing. He's a reporter. So it's great to know them.
Well, Larry, I got to thank you publicly because you helped me. If you remember 5-6 years ago, I went to the Beatles with my father-in-law, who you're good friends with, and my family, and Larry arranged a tour for us to go through Abbey Roads. Through Abbey Roads.
You know how rare that is?
I know. Believe me, and it was very cool. We saw the piano where Paul would, did a lot of his. We saw the room where the orchestra plays, and we went and we did a picture, of course, of the crosswalk. So thank you, Larry.
It was my pleasure.
Great.
Let me tell you something. I'm very, very excited. People don't realize what a power you are. John Brazer is the power behind the throne of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
And I got it. And you were a great star then. And you know something? I just love the Phillies. I love football. Everybody loves football. There's something about baseball. When I was a little kid, my mother and father gave me $1. I took my 8-year-old brother, who was 10, on the subway in New York, and we went to Ebbets Field. And we were in the Happy Felton knothole bag. And we got in for 25 cents.
Right.
And I could watch Duke Snyder right behind me. I was never a Dodgers fan, though. I was a Giants fan.
Yeah.
And I went to an event at a theater, and the Dodgers were all there, and I won the event. The question was, I forget the answer. If you hit a home run and you don't touch the base, what happens? Remember?
Yeah.
Good question, right? That was my question. So I won a Dodgers uniform,
and
I got up on the stage at this theater, about 1,000 kids, and I can't remember who it was, Pee Wee Reese or something, said to me, who do you root for? I said, the Giants. They had to get me out of there with police. but I've been a Phillies fan for the last 57 years.
Well,
and it's great to be here.
Larry, proud to call you a friend, and thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you, brother.
All right, the great Larry Kane. Larry,
yes, sir.
And I'll see you during the game, too. Coming up on the show, Tommy and I will get you ready for today's game. We'll give you the lineup, and we'll get a little assessment, too, of where the Phils stand with 5 weeks to go. You were listening to Septa Baseball Insider Show, presented by BCWSA, live from Passisto at Citizens Bank Park. Thanks again, Larry.
This is Tommy Greene from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for autopay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
I Septa Philly.
I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly.
I ride the Broad Street line. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
Because it's better for the environment.
I ride Septa all the time.
Monday through Friday, and whenever game day is.
I'm out the door and at my stop by 7:30.
I catch up on work when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, Septa is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
From Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley and everywhere in between. For 150 years, Penn Community Bank has been a part of your neighborhood. Helping businesses start, supporting families as they grow, and staying connected to the people and places that make this region special. It's who we are and where we're from. Penn Community Bank. Here we are, and here we grow.
I Septa Philly.
I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly.
I ride the Broad Street line. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
Because it's better for the environment.
I ride Septa all the time.
Monday through Friday, and whenever game day is.
I'm out the door and at my stop by 7:30.
I catch up on work when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, Septa is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
We now return to the Septa Baseball Insider Show, presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazer and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
All right, we are back to the Septa Baseball Insider Show, presented by BCWSA. We're live from Passisto at Citizens Bank Park. I'm John Brazer, joined by my co-host Tommy Greene. Tommy, great show today.
I'm eating chicken.
Really loved our guest today, the great Larry Kane. We got fans like that. We got Matt DeGeorge. We had Jason Firestone bringing food. All good. And Tommy?
You're the man, Brazer.
I wore my Septa shirt the other day and still wear it a lot. Consider a career at Septa.
Yeah.
Septa relies on and needs bus operators, train engineers, and conductors. As a Septa employee, you'll earn competitive compensation, great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org. All right, so, Tommy, let's just briefly go through the week. Obviously, Sunday was a tough one. After it was a Little League World Classic.
Yeah.
Zach Wheeler did not have his stuff.
Well, he didn't have the stuff the first inning.
Right, first inning, but then you came through. You're exactly right. Completely came through. So
kept us right there, gave us a chance.
That was a good sign right there. And then obviously into that we had the big series, big series with the Giants, right? Because the Giants right there were battling nip and tuck. We don't want, the Giants are a sneaky team. They don't have the superstars. A lot of the guys are hurt.
A bunch of battlers.
But they're battlers. They play smart baseball.
They tend to pitch it pretty decent.
And we do not. We want to not only get into the playoffs, but we need to win. We need to be that first team so we can. The other team will have the disadvantage of playing the Phillies here.
Yeah.
Right. We don't want to be in a situation where we're playing at Oracle Park, which is a tough place to play. Or over the years, no matter how good we are, how bad they are, it's tough to play out there. So we want to put them in the rearview mirror. And what do? We put them in the rearview mirror. Because they had a better record than us coming into it.
Yeah.
And we took care of business. We again gave up a run, came back, got 2 runs a second, run in the third, and then we started slowly putting it away. with 2 runs in the 5th, 4 runs in the 7th.
Yeah,
And,
back to that keep adding on type thing, and then we had a big inning at the end.
I had a very big inning. It got a little scary because it was 10-2 going in the 9th, and Dylan Covey just could not get a ball over the plate.
Yeah, he struggled a
but,
little bit.
But we got through that.
Who came in for us that it settled it down?
Jeff Hoffman came in.
Hoffman came in.
Hoffman.
He did an outstanding job.
Yep.
It was unbelievable.
Yep, Jeff Hoffman, and he's been
I tell you what, it's been a good find right there.
He's been a very good find. All right, then we get into the second game, and I tell you what, we face Kyle Harrison, who's a good young pitcher.
Yep.
Right? And same thing, they get a run in the first inning. We come back with 2 runs.
Yep.
They take the lead in the 5th, and then it comes down to the 9th. And just when you think things are looking tough, right? All of a sudden we start getting men on base, and Trey Turner comes up, and he hits it off the pitcher, who hits it off it gets just barely past the second baseman, was it?
Off the pitcher's glove. He smoked it, though. That ball was hit as hard as you could hit it. I was surprised he got a glove on it. But I think it probably worked out for the best because it changed the direction of the ball.
Right.
It might have been right at the second baseman.
Exactly right. So it was good to see that. It was his 5th walk-off hit of his career, first as a Philly. So good to see Harper home run. Good to see that.
Good to see Walker. Walker, after the first inning, he kind of, you give up a couple. But the first run wasn't an earned run. So really, you didn't give up 2 earned runs.
Yep.
But it was good to see him kind of settle down and get back on the mound after kind of, the dead arm type thing. It was something that he was going through.
Yep.
We wanted to see how he was coming off that with that extra few days of rest they had with him, to see how he was. Now the big test with me is how he feels this time out.
Exactly right. Well, then the bullpen was very solid. Sir Anthony came in, Alvarado, Soto, Kimbrel. So a very good performance. We ended up winning 4-3 on a walk-off. So good to see that.
That's the never say die attitude. You never out of the game.
The third game we talked about, the Giants, we had a chance to sweep. Now, we got down early.
Yeah.
We get down 1-0 in the first. We get down 2-0 in the third, 4-0 in the fourth. We get 2 runs back in the 6th. They get 1 back, so it's 5-2. And next thing you know,
bottom of the 9th again.
Bottom of the 9th, we tied up on a very dramatic home run by Harper. Just when you're thinking it feel good.
They had to bring the welding crew to get that dent out of the pole he put in there. He hit that ball so hard.
This place was going nuts. And that's the beauty of this team is that, and the fans have had their back, have stayed in the games. They wait. They know that something exciting can happen. And sure enough, it did. But then, unfortunately, Craig Kimbrel didn't have his best stuff. He'll be the first one to tell you that.
Yeah.
They scored some runs. But how about this is Gabe Kapler and the Giants in a nutshell. They used 10 pitchers.
Not shocking.
10 pitchers. They, Al Cobb, Scott Alexander, Luke Jackson, Alex Wood, Tyler Rogers, Tristan Beck, Camilo Duvall, Jacob Judas, Taylor Rogers, Ryan Walker. 10 pitchers.
Take a breath, Braze. Take a breath.
Have you ever, when you were playing, did you ever see 10 pitchers? Did you ever see 10? Did you ever see?
First of all, we didn't have but 5 relievers.
Right.
We had 5 starters. So I've seen a starter have to come the next day. Starter have to come in because we were out before. But that's been few and far between. But I've never seen like that. That's
crazy.
That's unbelievable.
All right, then we move on to the Cardinals, and we got to beat the Cardinals. They're hurting, but they still have.
They swing. They got people that bang it.
Yes,
man.
they can. It's their pitching's been their downfall. They haven't gotten. Wainwright's had a terrible year. Michaelis, who's there, other pitchers been okay, but they've been depleted. They trade away Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah.
So they knew that they were in the sell mode. But still, they're a dangerous team.
They traded Flaherty over to Baltimore.
Flaherty to Baltimore. So the 2 of their best pitchers, Jordan Montgomery. So then, just like the trend, Cardinals get up to a 2-0 lead. We come right back as again the trend to go up 3-2.
Yep.
Then we go up 4-2, and then same thing, 5-2. Next thing you know, it's 7-2. We break it wide open.
Yeah, credit Sanchez just keeping it right there after the first inning. You give up those
Sanchez,
the home runs. You're
exactly right. 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, no walks. Did give up a home run. But
it was a 2-run homer. That was the only thing he did. Just that one pitch cost him.
And he had 83 pitches, so he could have gone to the 7th. But I think Rob Thompson's trying to play the long game. Matt DeGeorge had mentioned that he is over his their career
the workload. They're
so
trying to manage the workload.
And sometimes you need to get some work for the bullpen. So Alvarado, Bilotti, and Hoffman came in.
And you're nothing but zeros there, which is great. And they didn't walk nobody either, which it wouldn't even remotely giving them a chance to come back.
And then it's good to see, our last night's game, we talked about it, where it was just a complete breakout. We gave you some of the stats.
Yeah.
But, one of the things, Dakota Hudson, not a bad pitcher, but we jumped all over and then we jumped on their bullpen.
Yeah.
And just what you had Bryson Stott, you had Nick Castellanos and Marsh all hitting home runs that just broke it wide open. And then we talked about Zach Wheeler's performance of 10 strikeouts.
Especially when he's rolling like that pitching, you don't have to give him but a few runs. It gives us a great chance to win the ball game. But to see those guys come through like that with men in scoring position and have those crooked numbers, putting those crooked numbers up on the board, that's a huge thing right there. We'd like to see that every game, but I'd like to get consistent at some of those things coming through. You can't. It's hard. You can run into good pitching sometimes.
Sure.
It's going to stymie you.
Right.
But if we keep doing those things type of thing, and whatever they're doing now, they need to friggin' video it and so they can go back to it. Yeah.
All right, Tommy. Here's the lineup today. We got Schwarber leading off, Turner batting second, Castellanos going third, Harper batting fourth, Bohm going fifth, Real Muto in the lineup playing a day game, which is interesting. Batting sixth, you got Stott, Sosa playing third base. Rojas is center field, and Nola. And as I mentioned, we're facing the Cardinals. Now the Cardinals lineup is actually, as you mentioned, they've got some hitters.
In the middle of that lineup, they got some thump.
They do.
They got some thump in that lineup.
Well, Arenado was not in last night because of back tightness. He left.
He's in there today. He's DHing today.
He is in there today, and we are facing young pitcher Drew Rom. I mentioned earlier, he came over in the Flaherty trade. He's had one start, 14.73 ERA. Don't get fooled by that number.
No.
But their lineup is Edman, Burleson, Goldschmidt, Arenado back in, Contreras, Gorman, I mentioned 24 home runs, Walker, Palacios, and Motter. They've got three guys that have at least 20 home runs in Goldschmidt, Arenado, and Gorman. So you got to be careful around that lineup.
Yes, you can.
All right.
They can get you. If you leave it over the middle of the plate, they can bang you.
All right, Tommy. Well, that wraps up today's Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA live from Citizens Bank Park. Thanks to my co-host, Tommy Greene, our on-site engineer, Chris Armour, back at the studio, Stephen Lawler. Thanks also to our guest today, Jason Firestone from Aramark, the legendary Larry Kane, and Matt DeGeorge from the Delco Daily Times. Thanks to you for listening. Baseball Insider Show will be back next Sunday for our last show at Keenan's. Summer is ending, unfortunately, before the Phillies take on the Brewers. That's a big series, Tommy. Have a great week, and as the late, great Harry the K says,
we're out of here.
You've been listening to the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by Lactico. Tonight's show is an exclusive presentation of 1490 AM, heard throughout the world at WBC.